I would like to bring to your awareness that you are sacrificing all the time. I was writing about this topic today. A lot of people are not willing to sacrifice everything in their life such that they can become this one great individual. And I find this very interesting because I think a lot of these people don't understand that they're sacrificing everything all the time anyways. Let me explain. So if you want to be I'm just going to use my example. If I want to be a YouTuber, then I have to sacrifice, being a painter, being a digital artist, being a musician. Now, of course, there is overlap and there's musicians that are YouTubers, but I digress. If you want to be one thing, if you want to be a lawyer, you're not going to be a doctor. If you want to be a doctor, you're not going to be a teacher. To make a choice in life is to simultaneously sacrifice all other choices. And to make a choice to build a beautiful life that is abundant, then you have to choose all of the actions that are going to facilitate that. And simultaneously, all those choices that are going to facilitate an abundant life you're going to simultaneously make all the other infinite other choices. You're going to sacrifice all the other infinite choices that you would make that would make your life mediocre. One sec. Do you recognize this? You are already sacrificing. Like if you slept in today, you've sacrificed a vote towards your greater self that doesn't sleep in, that gets up on time, that gets up at the first alarm. These small decisions that we make may seem small, but they add up. It's like a 0.0001 degree shift with each decision that we make with our moments in our days. Now, of course, we can make some big fundamental decisions like quitting a vice, quitting an addiction. That's going to be like a 3-degree shift. But, to really make yourself into a new person, and like such that like in 7 years from now, you don't even fucking recognize yourself, right? Or even in like 2 years from now. But, realistically 7. And the reason why I chose 7, funny enough, is because in 7 years, all your cells in your body actually replace. So you're literally physically a new fucking person, which is very interesting. And so, what's incredible to realize, hopefully one day you can realize this as deep as I have, is that you are actually given choices at all times. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, like if you're just sitting there, like if you choose, like you're making it, if you're still through this video, you're choosing to keep going, If you're sitting, you're choosing to sit and to not stand or to not lie down. Right? To make any way you manifest currently in reality, you are choosing to manifest this way. And simultaneously, you're choosing not to manifest any other way. Even with what kind of thoughts you're having, what kind of self-talk you're having, how much momentum you have in your life that you've generated, how you think about yourself, how you think about how successful you are, the beliefs that you have, your level of self-esteem, all of that. We are always making choices. And what's hard for me to see is that I think a lot of people do not make the choice to live a passionate life, to have a life purpose, to create a beautiful life, because it's a lot of work. But they don't realize that, like, opting out of that is a choice. Like, sticking to the default position is a choice. If you see my other episode where I talk about how philosophy is not optional, I want to bring that up here, where with whatever way that you choose to live in reality, you are living in some sort of philosophy, under some sort of philosophy. And that philosophy could just be what you were default, the default position from what you were indoctrinated with. Like, you are never not operating from any philosophy. I want you to notice that. Even like the philosophy of no philosophy, that's actually a philosophy. You can't escape this. And likewise, you can't escape decisions. You are always making a decision at every point of the day. I'm not saying that you're always controlling what's happening to you, right? I am saying you are controlling how you react. You are controlling what you do, your behavior. Because really, our behavior is all we got, right? How we act in reality is really where all of our power is. That's it. That's really the only thing we can do. And it's kind of interesting when you think about life from that perspective. Because you think there are people that are in the same position as you or are in a worse position than you and that are winning. Have you ever thought about that? There are people right now that have it worse than you or the same, and they're doing better than you because they made different choices. They made different sacrifices, right? Maybe they sacrificed the addiction to video games and you haven't yet. Or they sacrificed, their addiction to YouTube and you haven't yet. Or whatever addiction or vice it is. They sacrificed it. And they chose, because in choosing, becoming, in the choice of becoming a character that is going to get the results that you're after, you're simultaneously making the choice to let go of all these vices, to become more focused, to wake up on time, to go to sleep on time, to eat the right food, to work out every day, multiple times a day. All these things that the 10.0 version of you is doing, right? That when you make a choice like, oh, I want to be this character to get this result, because when you set a goal, what we have to realize is that we have to raise our standards of the systems that we put in place, our habits that we put in place, such that they're in line with our goal. Too many people lower their ambitions based on their current set of habits. But if you really want to catch an amazing goal that for a lot of people is pie in the sky, if you want to catch a comet, the comet's not going to slow down for you. You have to accelerate up to the speed of that comet in order to catch it. Likewise, when you set a very high goal for yourself, you have to accelerate and raise your standards of your routines and your self-conduct and your discipline and everything around that. You have to raise your standard of all these things to match the goal. Do you get that? And that's a choice that you make. If you truly made the choice, so like think about being successful. This is just down to a decision. That's really it. Are you actually going to decide and make a choice that you're going to be successful? Are you going to choose to make the sacrifices towards that? Right? Because we are always sacrificing at all times. The only difference between someone who's successful and someone who's mediocre, that is just at the status quo and just doing what everyone else is doing, the difference between that really driven person that's successful and the, mediocre fuck over here, the fundamental difference is this person is making conscious choices. The driven person is making conscious sacrifices. They know that they are sacrificing so many things in their life. Sleep, relationships, any other possibility of who they could be. Whereas the person that has a very shallow life, that's mediocre, they are unconsciously sacrificing all of who they could be by choosing the default quo, the status quo. And even though for that person it may not feel like a choice, it absolutely is. It's fundamentally the choice of not leaning in to the emotionally difficult thing. So, my question for you now is, what choice are you going to make today? What sacrifice are you going to make? What are you going to sacrifice everything toward? Are you going to consciously sacrifice everything to create this one possibility that catches your eye? Or are you going to be like everybody else and succumb to the fear of sacrificing everything such that you have a chance to get that one very special thing? This is fundamentally the cost of becoming iconoclastic, to become a visionary, to become someone that's a real mover and shaker of the world. You have to be willing to let go of it all. You have to be wanting it like you want to breathe. If you were getting drowned underwater, someone was holding your head down, and think about what that would feel like. Maybe you had an older sibling that did this to you one time at a pool, right? Bring up that memory where like that sibling is pushing your head down and you're like, holy shit, let me get out of here. I need some air like now or else I'm dead. That same level of want, you need to want towards your goals. And that will silo your focus so much that you don't give a shit about what's happening on the news. You don't give a fuck who died, what fucking war's going on, who said what. You won't give a fuck about this relationship here. You won't give a fuck about YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, fucking porn. You won't give a fuck about any vice, fucking crack, meth, or weed. You won't give you don't, in that moment when you're being drowned, the only thing you care about is some fucking air. And that's really that's the kind of state of consciousness that you want to channel towards your goals and towards your want to be successful, where you don't care about any of these vices, you don't care about anyone else, but your ability to chase that goal every day. And that means sacrificing all your attachments to your addictions. So video games gotta go, YouTube addiction gotta go, all my fucking distracting apps on my phone gotta go. If you're not willing to go through that sacrifice, that pain of sacrifice, going out and partying with friends, gotta go. My comfort in the morning, of sleeping in, gotta go, gotta wake up early. I get excited when I find a new thing to sacrifice. Because I'm like, fuck yeah, that's another fucking hard vote I can cast to becoming who I came here to be. You know, imagine quitting your job and now like you have all this fucking time in the world. That's a big sacrifice, you know, just living off your savings. That's a big sacrifice. But that could be a sacrifice that's required to really give yourself enough time to actually create a spot for yourself in reality. Because if you're like me, you may feel like, man, like you don't fit fucking anywhere. And that's okay. You know, I've accepted that. I realize that I have to be a leader of my own tribe. And I'm willing to make whatever sacrifices required to make that happen. You know, when you are struggling for that, you know, that gasp of air, your mind opens real fucking quick of whatever you got to do to get that next breath. And I want you every single day, I want you to think about how every single day is like taking another breath from being nearly drowned underwater. The attitude upon which you execute your day, or you push really hard, you know, you sacrifice sleep, you sacrifice time with friendship, you sacrifice your enjoyment with all these vices. And it's every positive habit is like another breath. You know, one breath, work out. One breath, wake up on time. Another breath, go to bed on time. Another breath, eat right. You know, another breath, do your writing. Another breath, do your filming. You know, another breath, do your editing. You know, each thing that you're doing that's directly getting yourself towards that goal, moving that needle, that's like your next breath. That's what life is for you. That is your breathing. Chasing your goals, skydiving towards your goals. That is your daily breaths. That is how you breathe. Because you cannot stand that you do not have what you are after yet. And you're willing to kill every part of yourself and sacrifice everything for it to happen. And to bring it back to the first topic, challenge yourself to sacrifice more and more consciously. Because if you're not willing to sacrifice everything to get to your goal, then your goal will be the sacrifice. So with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next one.